Welcome back to All This Math. This is Professor Parker. If you're here, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. We need subscribers, right? So we can get into the algorithm. Also, if you got any questions about anything that I do, anything I put up here, please put your question in the comment section. All right. And please share this video with somebody. So I also want to highlight the book that I published back in 2023, How to Use All This Math Volume 1, where I'm giving tips and strategies and techniques to parents on how they can leverage their everyday activities, their regular activities, and make them into arithmetic lessons, algebra lessons, and geometry lessons for their children. So that way the children are more comfortable with the math and they're practicing math in the household. So that way when they get to school, your children don't feel overwhelmed and end up feeling uncomfortable about math because it's too much coming at them too fast. And the teachers may not have enough time to really spend on certain topics so that your children can become proficient, right? Because teachers are under a lot of stress, principals are under a lot of stress, right? So oftentimes your child may not have enough time to learn certain topics. So I've created this book to give you some examples of using the everyday activities and the things you're already doing. You can give your children practice with mathematics. So when they get to school and they see the mathematics, they'll be like, all right, I'm familiar with this. I do this with my mom. I do this with my dad. I do this with grandma. I do this with grandpa. I do this with my uncle, my auntie, or whoever, right? Now, I want to take an example from chapter 19. Chapter 19, the book has 20 chapters. I'm going to take an example from chapter 19 on credit card payments. So, a recommendation I have, this is kind of financial literacy, right? Everybody might not do this, but it's something I do. At a minimum, when I'm making a credit card payment, I try to never make the minimum payment. I take the minimum payment and I add to it the finance charge that was applied in the previous month, right? And at a minimum, I combine those two amounts and then I make that payment. And if I had a late charge, I add the late charge to it also. I try to never, like anybody, it's nothing special about that. I try to never get late charges. But in the event that I do get a late charge, I forget to pay the bill or whatever. Because I usually don't put my stuff on automatic payment or whatever. But if I forget to pay, and then they bang you with that charge, and if you can't get it, waived, you should always call customer service and ask them to waive your late fees. Always ask. They might not do it. They might say, "Oh, we can only do one every 12 months," and if we already gave you a courtesy waiver, we can't do it again for another year. All right, cool. But always ask. Always ask. But anyway, what I do, and I did this today. I paid a couple credit card bills earlier today, so I'm gonna show you, right? Just I wanted to just share this with the people, right? So look, one credit card bill, I got it written down. The minimum payment recommended, and also here's another thing. There's a mathematical formula that is used to calculate your minimum credit card payment. As part of financial literacy and personal finance, I haven't done this yet, but I'm gonna create videos where I show you how the credit card company calculates your minimum payment. So that way you, as a consumer, as an educated consumer, can verify that it's done correctly. And also it gives you an opportunity to practice using math. And the more you practice using math, the better you'll be at math, the more proficient you'll be at math. And the better you are at math, the better you'll be at critical thinking, which we all need. We all need critical thinking skills. And the better you are at math, the better you'll be at problem solving. And we all need problem solving skills, right? So you see how one thing leads to another, and it leads to us just being in a better position overall. So, all right. So look, the first credit card bill, um, the company recommended a minimum payment of $99.81, right? But then I did my research and I said, okay, well, what was my interest charge for the previous month? My interest charge or finance charge for the previous month was $68.61. So this is something you could do if I was, with my child, probably, and this I recommend for like children, as long as they know how to do addition, addition, using the algorithm, the vertical algorithm, right? They know how to regroup, they know how to carry the one and all that, right? As long as they know how to do that, or they're being introduced to that. So it might happen in kindergarten. That's a little early though, but maybe first and second grade. First and second grade, then I would have them do this. Now the only issue is like, some people are traditional. I'm not gonna say old fashioned. I'm gonna say traditional, and we have this idea that personal finance is grown folks' business. It's not for the children. So if you believe that, okay, cool. Maybe you want to make up some fictional numbers. Just make up some fictional numbers, right? Maybe do something like that. But all right, so 99.81 plus 68.61. Show your children that when you're doing addition, the decimal points must be lined up vertically. The decimal points must be lined up vertically. So we got $68.61, right? This is the hundredths place, or the penny place, the dime place, and the dime place, $1 place, $10 place. All right, we start from the far right using the traditional method. We're going to do 1 plus 1, that gives us 2. Then 8 plus 6 gives us 14. Now we can't fit more than 9, right, in this column, right? Well, actually, I should say, yeah, we can't fit more than 9 in that column. So what happens is, out of this 14, right, 14 dimes. 14 dimes, and think about it like this, right? Why does it make sense to carry the 1? Because 14 dimes, 8 dimes plus 6 dimes, because this is money, right, is $1.40. $1.40. So where do dollars go? Dollars don't go with the dimes. Dollars don't go with the dimes, right? 14 dimes is $1.40. So this is a way to also, so we're teaching financial literacy in different ways, because the foundation of financial literacy is math, right? Is arithmetic. We got to understand arithmetic in order to understand the actual financial, in order to have financial literacy. So 8 dimes plus 6 dimes is 14 dimes. Ask yourself, talk to your children about this. How much money is that? 14 dimes. That's $1.40. This is a way to organize our values, right? We put all our pennies in this column. So we got 1 penny plus 1 penny. That's 2 pennies. Over here, we got 14 dimes altogether, but we can't have dollars in the space for earmarked for dimes. So we put those 4 dimes, let those 4 dimes stay there. And what do we do with that dollar? Bring your decimal point down. Put it in the dollar column. That's where the dollars go. That's why you carry the 1, right? That's why we carry the 1 in that situation, right? Because this is where the dollars go. So we put the $1 up here. So now we're adding our dollars up. $1 plus $9 is $10. $10 plus $8 is $18, right? But if you got $18, what's that? That's $10 plus 8 ones, or a $10 bill and 8 singles. A $10 bill and 8 singles. $18. We can't put $18 in the ones place, right? We got to break that up into $10 bills. Because think about it like this, right? We got pennies, dimes, $1 bills, $10 bills, $100 bills. After that, there's no, to my knowledge, there are $500 bills that are printed by the Mint, right, or the Federal Reserve, but there are no $1,000 bills, to my knowledge, right? So after that, we can't really, the analogy, we can't continue on with the analogy, right? Or is it a metaphor or analogy? I'm not sure. But anyway, we can't continue on with that example, right, after we pass the hundreds place, which is cool, right? Because then we're just talking about thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, and so on. All right. But anyway, we had 10 plus 8, that's 18. So 18 $1 bills. We can't fit 18 $1 bills in the ones place. The max we can have is 9. The max we can have is 9. So what we do is we take 8 of them, right? We're going to take 8. We're going to keep 8 $1 bills, and them other 10 $1 bills, we're going to change that for a $10 bill, right? They're going to become a $10 bill. We're going to convert that to a $10 bill, and so we have one $10 bill, and we're going to put that with the $10 bills in this column. So we got one $10 bill plus 9 is 10 $10 bills plus 6 is 16 $10 bills. So now we got 16 $10 bills, right? We got 16 $10 bills. So we're essentially doing the same thing. We're not going to carry to the next column because we don't really need to. But if we got 16 $10 bills, 16 $10 bills, 10 of those we can exchange for a $100 bill. 10 of those we can exchange for a $100 bill. And then the 6 $10 bills, we can keep those, right? So we got the 6 $10 bills. And then what about the $100 bill? Boom, that goes right there. So I paid $168.42 to this particular credit card company. All right. That's what I did. All right. I was going to do another example, but this video was already almost 10 minutes. So I'm going to chill right there. I might do another video for the other example. You know what I mean? But look, this is just something that, is from my book, How to Use All This Math, Volume 1. Oh, and I've neglected to tell you, you can find it on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. Please go order a copy. If you already have a copy, order a copy as a gift. Give it to somebody, right? What I'm trying to do is show parents in a very easy way how they can prepare their children for math class. I know that sounds very foreign because we don't usually prepare our children for math class. We usually just send them to math class and let the teacher and the school do all the work. That doesn't work. That's not effective for us or our children. And we see the results of that. So we got to figure out ways to prepare our children for math class that are, convenient, right? And very much doable. So what I do in this book is I show you everyday activities, things you already doing anyway. And I'm just showing you like, look, you're already riding in the car doing this, you're already running these errands doing this, you're already going into the kitchen and cooking and doing this type of stuff with your children. This can become an arithmetic lesson right in your house. This can become an algebra lesson right in your car, right? So that way your children get practice over and over on a daily basis in a relaxed, comfortable environment with you, right? So that way when they go to school, they don't feel overwhelmed, uncomfortable, and end up developing math anxiety and discomfort around math and end up hating math. And then they never develop their critical thinking ability and problem solving skills. And they end up not being a person that cannot compete for a job in the STEM discipline that they might want to do. They may not want to do it, but at least if they don't do it, they should stay out of STEM if and only if they don't want to. They legitimately don't want to go into that field. A lot of people stay out of STEM because why? They hate math or they're uncomfortable with math. That shouldn't be the reason that they don't go into STEM. They should, if they don't go into STEM, it should be because they legitimately want to go into another field or another area, not just because they feel like they don't qualify. And that's what happens to a lot of our children, unfortunately. So when people say it should start at the home, I agree. But you got to show people how to make it start at the home. So that's why I wrote the book. So grab a copy of the book, How to Use All This Math, Volume 1 by Akil Parker. That's me, of course, Professor Parker. And it's on Amazon. All right. So, shout out to Hillman College, A Different World, all that. You know what I'm saying? Got my little, jersey on, you know, um, honoring them. I grew up watching that show. Still watch the reruns now. So anyway, if you got any questions, put the questions in the comments. Please like the video, share this video with somebody. Yeah, that's about it. I'll see y'all later. Peace.